My lords, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome back to Transport Fever 2. Before we get started, I just want to pass on my apologies for the delay in the recent upload of videos. I've been back on 12-hour shifts at work, which is not ideal. So that's been eating into my free time quite considerably. My days at the moment consist very much of going to work, coming home, going to sleep, waking up, having a bite to eat, and going to work again. So finding time to squeeze in a video has been very, very difficult. However, I haven't been idle in this little period. What I have done in the free 10-15 minutes I have been able to fashion out for myself is I've made adjustments to this station here. This is the Long Eaton fuel refinery. And if you remember, I was concerned about the traffic hold-up because everything was sharing one line passing through, and that line was also being used as a drop-off platform as well. So what I've gone ahead and done is just amended the lines through. So now these two pass through, and these are one direction only. So that one goes through, as you can see here, evidenced by this train, and this outside track comes through this way. And this is reserved then just for dropping off the refined oil that is due to be turned into fuel. That seems to have made a nice impact in terms of the flow through of traffic in this little section of our network, so I'm pleased with that. And let's bring up the UI if I can. There we go. Press the right keys. Let's start the date, and again we're going to go to 1x speed now because we've got quite a lot done, and it would be nice to get to the later eras before we completely do everything that we need to do. Now in today's episode, I know previously I did discuss the potential for expanding this passenger line up here and building a third village. However, I'm going to do that off camera, I think, and I might come back and do the detailing on camera. I'll connect up the lines on camera, but the actual the core of the building will be done off camera because I know it's not to everybody's taste. So what I'm planning to do is get the majority of the village constructed off camera, and then maybe put a few extra things in here and there on camera to try and find a nice balance. So for today then, what I would like to do is take a look at the city of Epping. As it stands at the moment, we're producing, or we're supplying, 3 of the commodities that they require, so 3 out of 5. We don't have tools coming in, nor do we have bricks. So I'd like to make a start on getting those 2 commodities dropped in. I do believe we have 2 spare platforms at the freight yard, and indeed we do, although we don't have any spare platforms at the station freight yard. Obviously these 2 platforms here are used as a pass-through for the iron ore trains, as we can see in motion right here, and these 2 platforms are reserved for other lines. However, as we saw when we looked at Epping, we only need a small amount of bricks, and we're not going a great distance to collect those bricks. So there's 2 options here. We could just ship them in via some trucks because it's not too far to go at all. Or what we could do is just have a small service that has short platforms at both the brickworks and the freight yard here in Epping, and that connects into this bit of track, so this is not sat idle anymore, and we'll have some traffic on here. And that's the option I'm leaning towards. It may be more efficient to do it by trucks, of course, but I'm opting to do it this way just to add a little bit extra to our network. So the first thing we want to do is go into the freight yard, and we want to put a small section of track just here. As I said, because Epping doesn't need a lot of bricks, this train doesn't need to be very big at all, and that should work just fine. So we are going to have to be mindful when we're constructing the train that it will fit on this small short platform. And then from here it's just a straightforward connection into the line that's already existing, and then we want to cross over here. Yes, that does, and then we got a double crossover here already, but I want to get them onto the correct side of the tracks sooner rather than later. So they'll cross over. There is a potential, a high potential, for the iron ore train to be waiting at this signal and blocking in this whole little junction here, but I'm prepared to live with that. So what we want on this stretch is a two-way signal controlling access onto this little junction here, and as I said, it could be quite busy because of the iron ore trains and the frequency that they are passing through. So we'll do that, and I dare say we might want a one-way signal here, and for this I'm going to use this one, and that's going to go just there, and then that will control not only access through this station along with this signal here, but primarily it's going to be intended to control a train heading into this platform here. So then the train will run down here on this track right here, and somewhere on this radius we'll put a line that comes out here, and over at the brickworks we'll do the same thing we've just done at Epping Freight Yard, and run a small track alongside the outer platform there as a short platform, and this will be where the train comes in to collect the bricks. Given that it's such a short run, and also that Epping doesn't need too many bricks in any way, we're not going to have a lot of trains down here. In fact, I dare say we're going to have just the one. So we don't need to worry about having some sort of stabling situation down here, because we're only going to have one train active anyway. So this bit here is going to be two-way, but we are now going to cross over and join the freight line proper, as it were, with a double slip switch there to allow us full access. We'll also pause the game for no good reason. And then what we'll do is, after this junction here, we shall branch off and connect into this line here, and that will be nice and straightforward, and hopefully it will look reasonably nice as well. The height differences, there's only 3 meters in it, so I think the overlaps should be okay. It looks okay at that side, although it is connecting to the outer track, so you don't usually get a full appreciation for what sort of overlap you're having until you come on the outer tracks like this, or the inner tracks if you will. And that way, because you're crossing over a line, you do see the overlap much clearer. But again, it looks okay at that junction, and over here, yeah, that's tolerable as well. So let's confirm the construction of that, and now we want to go back to our signals, and again we want a two-way signal here round about there at that gantry, and that will control access onto this little stretch here. This signal right here, we shall push it forward, and we shall go to just there. We've made that a double slip switch. No, we haven't, and in fact we don't need to, so that's fine. So then that will control this way and obviously access onto this branch line right here. We'll want another signal controlling access into the main line there for the brick trains when they're on the way through. That signal could cause problems, but I think I'm going to leave it in situ, and if that means you have a bit of traffic waiting, then so be it. There's nothing unrealistic about that, of course. We'll put a set of blocking signals roughly midway on this connection line here. Bearing in mind, again, our train is going to be pretty short, so we can afford to put a block in there without any concerns. That will be one way. We'll put a one way here as well, and we'll put a couple of blocks in here, and again this is keeping in mind that the train running up here is going to be relatively short like that, and I think that should do us. So before we go ahead and set the train line up, we want to make sure we have some road vehicles ready to collect the bricks as they start to arrive. So let's get ourselves a new line, coloured red, and we're coming from Epping Freight Yard. And do we want a new drop-off point for the bricks? Let's go ahead and take a look. So we want the buildings, we want the unload stop, and now we will be sharing this one right here because it's directly adjacent to the bricks, so that's okay. So after Epping Freight Yard, you're coming to drop off right here. So add station like that. So that is now a shared drop-off point between the fuel and the bricks, but that's not a problem. And I think we're coming a decent way in and out of town. We don't need to worry about that, although I might send you down that way on that waypoint there. And yet we can go with that. We don't really concern ourselves with how much load they're filling up with, whether they're full or empty. It matters not in the long run, so we'll keep that as default, but we will of course make sure they're only taking bricks. And then the last thing to do for this is name it, and this will be the Epping Bricks Delivery. We can get ourselves a small handful of trucks. I do stress the word small here because we don't need many in Epping. And if we have a specialist truck here, which we do, which is slightly higher capacity than the Opel Blitz generic truck, we shall go with that. And I do think 2 is going to do us just fine, at least initially. So let's have them set off immediately, and then we can turn our attention to the train line. And this is coming from the Brickworks at Epping, and it's going to be a red colour. You're only loading bricks. This one we do want to have a full load, so we'll make sure we set that up. And you're coming into there, and you're doing everything you should be doing, and you're utilising the 2 short platforms, which is fantastic. And this will be RC with a capital C, and this is bricks into Epping. Quite simple and straightforward. So now we can get the train for this little route, and as I said a few moments ago, it's going to be a relatively short train. So first of all, what locomotive do we want? Well, we may as well stick with the A35 at this point. We will give it the colour scheme, so it's going to be red. We want the flat car with side stakes, and I dare say, what length is that? 87. Yeah, we'll aim for 100, so 99 is fine. It's only 9.5 million, and 56 capacity should be more than enough to meet Epping's annual demand, at least as it stands right now. So let's put that on that line, and we should start seeing bricks put onto this platform in the very near future. The other thing we want to get up here are the tools. Now we do have a line, I believe, that we can use all the way from here, and it would run down this line, it would come up here, pass through this, come up here, it would then cross the river, pass through here, come up here, take this branch here, and then come in. However, we will want to think about having a larger platform for this one, simply because we're going to have a larger train, just because of the distance that this train has to take. How many tools does Epping require? Well, it's a secondary, so it's a primary good, so it does need quite a lot. So we want to make sure we have a good supply of tools coming up here. So the first thing we're going to need is, of course, a set of tracks down here to activate the outermost platform here, just like so. We want to connect this in. Now this could be a little bit awkward because I think we're quite elevated there, but it looks like we're okay. And we've also, of course, got to contend with the iron ore trains that are coming down here, and now of course the small brick train that runs this way. What I'm tempted to do here, if it will allow me, is have this run straight over this, although it is giving me a collision, which is not great, because we don't really have the room to tuck this in before this. Or maybe we do actually, but it's going to look a little bit odd, and I might not be entirely satisfied with it. Let's just try it anyway. Right, so you can connect in. Doesn't look too bad. It's to wait for that train to clear so we can see if there's any overlap issues, but I don't think there are. Yeah, we'll do that then. If that's what we've got to do, then so be it. And then of course we'll do the same for this track. It does mean that signal has to go, so we shall remove that and replace it a little bit later. Bring that in there. We want signals on this new bit of track here, so we'll put a one-way signal there. And we'll have one. In fact, I won't have one here. I will have one here. And yes, the iron ore train could end up blocking the brick train, or the tool train I should say. But that's something I can live with. Yeah, I'm happy enough with that. If it gets too bad, we can change it around and remove that signal. But the idea is I want the iron train to have the priority to come in and get out of the way, and if that means our tool train has to wait a couple of moments at this signal before it can gain access and pass on through, then that's something we'll have to live with, not a problem. Okay, so we've got the signals down here. We'll want one here for that junction because now we have traffic coming up here, or we will do momentarily. We want a blocking signal here, and we want signals protecting this junction here as well, like that. And I think I'll put a short signal there, and we have one there to clear that way, so that's all fine. So that should in theory be ready to go, and we can test that by actually creating the train line even if we don't purchase a train yet. Let's just have a look down here. Ah yes, we need another platform on this station here because all of the current platforms are spoken for. So let's go ahead and give them an extra platform, and this will be running up to Epping. Let's go ahead and lay some tracks down here, and what we'll do is we'll snap in like that. Branch out like that. And we'll have a bit of a runoff here to allow the trains to park up and get out of the way of any other traffic that may be wanting to go into Long Eaton Station. So that's the intention here. And I think that should be long enough to achieve that. And we want to be on this track here, not the outer track. So it should be straightforward enough to get over there and over here. I'm not worried about that short signal there. It shouldn't cause deadlock, but I will put one there and there as well. And then we'll put one here and here, and I might put one more. No, that should be enough. Okay, so now we should be able to put that line in. So it's going to be tools, so let's use that colour there. We're running from this station, Long Eaton Freight Exchange. You're loading tools, and we want you fully loaded, so we'll set that up. And you're coming all the way up here, all the way up, all the way into Epping. Ah, you've opted to go that way. Well, that's unfortunate, but we should be able to sort that by putting you onto platform number 6. Yep, so now you're coming that way, which is exactly what we want. So, yes, I would prefer if you pass through on both directions on this platform here. So to achieve that, what we shall do is put a waypoint on that signal there, and we'll do the same coming back. If we have a signal down here, no we don't, but it's coming back that way anyway, so hopefully it will stay like that forevermore. This bridge is getting quite busy, we have quite a few lines on it, but we should be okay. And then you're coming down here, through here, all the way down here, and you are going onto that new platform there, which is fantastic. So let's name this new line, and this is Tools to Epping. Nice and simple. So we're not going to purchase this train yet because we have no demand for the tools at the Epping freight yard. So where do we need the tools dropping off? They're all down this side of the town. So let's give you a drop-off point. Just, let's see here, let's have it, let's have it on that one there. And we have a spare platform, yes. So new line from here. I think we used about that colour, something similar, that's fine. Doesn't matter if you're fully loaded. Picking up tools, and you're coming to this new drop-off point right here, and then heading straight back out of town. No problems at all, and you're on your own dedicated platform as well. So quick name here, and this is the Epping Tools Delivery. Okay, now we want a couple of trucks on this one because it is a primary good, as we saw. So let's use the Opal Blitz for this one, and let's go for 8. Colour them in, assign them to their line, and that means then we can purchase the train to run all the way from Long Eaton up into Epping. So we want to make this a long one just so we don't have as much traffic running down here, and for this I'm going to use the BRE94. So let's put it on. Cargo wagons, it will be the box cars. And let's go ahead and get ourselves, shall we go for 250 meters for this one? 248. 184 capacity, 1 thereof. We might need 2 eventually, or to elongate this one, but we can come back to that a little bit later. But for the time being, I think 1 train will be fine just to get the ball rolling. Purchase that. We should be able to see the line here, and yes we can. And send her on her way. So there we go, that's the last 2 goods that Epping was currently requiring, soon to be delivered in. It might take a little while for it all to filter through, but that's okay. We can see here it's going to take us a while to load up on bricks on this one because we're not a high consumer. So the priority for the brickworks isn't on Epping, it's on the other cities that are far higher consumers in terms of volume. So shall we take a ride on our new electric train then for the outro up into, I guess it's going to go up to Epping Freight Yard? I think we shall. So here we are, we're on the front of the newly christened Epping tool train, just leaving the depot and about to join the Western Main Line. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and once again I do apologise that there's been slow down in the amount of videos lately, but as I explained at the start of this video, free time is very much a premium at the moment and a luxury that I sadly do not have. But next week I am off work, so I should be able to get a good catalogue of videos recorded while I'm off work, and then get them uploaded for the next couple of weeks. But for now, all that remains for me to say, ladies and gentlemen, is as always, I hope you take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.